A very good evening to all of you. I'm Hiruni and I'd like to welcome you all to MINDSPARK 2021, an initiative of the Apprentice Journal of Medical Students Forum, Faculty of Medicine, University of California. Firstly, I warmly welcome Senior Professor Janaki Heva Vicenti, the Dean of Faculty of Medicine, University of California. Thank you, Madam, for joining with us despite your busy schedule. I would also like to welcome Professor Rohan Sirivardhana from Department of Surgery, Faculty of Medicine, University of California. A warm welcome goes out to the members of the academic staff and all other invitees. I dearly welcome our participants joining with us from 6 different medical faculties. Without your enthusiasm, we couldn't have gone through with this event. Finally, I'd like to welcome every one of you who spared your time to join with us today to witness this event. Before we begin, let me tell you a little bit about the quiz. The purpose of this quiz was to develop an interest among medical students beyond the scope of medicine and surgery we learn every day at lectures and clinicals. While this is not a competition to find out who has the most knowledge on medicine, we have tried to interconnect medicine with history, art, science, sports, and even literature. So bear with us if this turns out to be nothing like you expected it to be, but I can assure you, for a keen mind, every moment is an opportunity to learn something new. And MINDSPARK 2021 will give you just that. Before we begin, I'd like to cordially invite Madam Dean, Senior Professor Janaki Heva Vicenti, to share a few words with us.
Thank you, students, and thank you, Professor Rohan Sirivardhana, for inviting me. I'm really excited and very, very pleased at this activity you have undertaken, because this is, I would say, right up my street. This is something what I envisage for medical students of the California Medical Faculty to undertake. So I'm very pleased with this. I won't talk too long because I think Gayal has outlined everything that is in store for you. All I want to say is to wish you all the very best in this endeavor, and I hope you go from strength to strength with activities like this. So good luck, and let's proceed.
Thank you so much, Madam, for your valuable words. Now I invite the pioneer of the Apprentice Journal and our constant guide behind all of us, Professor Rohan Sirivardhana from Department of Surgery, Faculty of Medicine, University of California, to give us a few words.
Yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Well, I think this is a different experience for me as well. First of all, I would like to congratulate and thank all the guys who are behind this. Actually, you all have done a great job. And I have, during the last 3-4 weeks, I have seen different breed of medical students, different potentials among you, and even organizing this event. You have a lot of planning, and that is something that I have not seen before, working probably 10, 15 years with medical students. And if you look back as humans, maybe we started our journey as human, maybe Homo sapiens, probably about 20,000 years ago. We were just a bunch of insignificant apes who were just limited to Africa. But from there onwards, we have gained lot of things. We have traveled all along the world, from starting from Africa. We have populated the whole world. We invented fire and we got power from that. Then we domesticated animals, we domesticated plants, and we learned agriculture. We built civilizations, we built towns, we built empires, and today we think that we have come to the to the pinnacle of our civilization. But all that was possible to come to the peak. It was possible because of the science. And as medical students, if I've seen, if I ask a question, if I ask someone to ask a question, most of the time, people would ask, okay, will this question be asked in the exam? Is this in our syllabus? Is this a type of MCQ question that will be asked? And those are the type of questions that our students used to ask. But science is something far, far beyond that. There is no syllabus for science. You can't limit, okay, you can't limit the science to a small syllabus. And the way that we have used to study, we study a syllabus, and at the end of the syllabus, we are asked few questions from the syllabus. And that is not science. And that is not how we have advanced as humans. We have always asked the questions why and how we do this and how we can improve the system. And you can't do this, do that unless you start thinking beyond your small box of thinking. And that is the idea behind creating Apprentice. And I think last few weeks I have seen different group of people, different group of medical students who are probably started thinking differently. And without talking further, I congratulate everyone and wish you all the best. And I think we'll proceed with the rest of the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, let's get on with our main event. Kavindra will take over from here and he will tell you first about the rules of the quiz, and then from there he will carry on the quiz. So I hope you all enjoy.
Thank you, Hiruni. Good evening, madam, sir, honored guests, participants, and everyone joined with us today. Like us, I'm sure you all must be eagerly waiting to see how this goes. So, without much delay, I'll move on to today's proceedings. First, let me know whether you all can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, we can, Kavindra.
Thank you, madam. So now you must be able to see the screen displayed on Zoom. Please have your Kahoot opened in your second device. Now, as you are seeing the screen, we will now switch to the Kahoot window, which you will be seeing through Zoom shortly. So, now, we'll be showing you the Kahoot window through Zoom. The game pin is displayed on the top. And I will read it out as well. So the game pin is 1665899. 1665899. Please enter the game pin and join the game. So a small note of advice, the Kahoot, the competition is only for those who registered beforehand, and we will be going through the names, and it should be the previously registered name. So we would only allow those who registered beforehand to take part in the competition. Participants, please use your name with initials or the name which you registered, the nickname which you registered when you applied for this competition. These two names are, these are the names which you can use when registering, because we will have to go through the names. So while our participants join, I will briefly go through the format of this session, especially for those who are watching through Zoom. The quiz will be covering areas in general knowledge in the categories of history, sports, arts and literature, science, which will all be related to medical fields. Some of the questions have videos and pictures incorporated to the content. We have 15 multiple choice questions. They will be read out once in English. 20 seconds are allocated for each question. The timer will commence when the question has been completely described. The timer will be running when the 4 choices are being read out to you. Once the time has exceeded, the correct answer will be given, and we will move on to the next question. The top scorers will be shown in the midst, and the winner will be declared at the end of the quiz. So we will wait a while until all our participants have logged on to Kahoot. Currently, we have 32 participants logged on. So please bear with us shortly.
Participant with the nickname Leonardo, we have not registered you with this name. So if you have been registered before, please send us your name with initials to the chat box, or we will be removing you from the game. Participant with nickname Kavinda, please confirm your name with initials to us. Otherwise, we will remove you from the game.
So it seems now our participants are ready, and this is a new experience for us too. So we hope you enjoy this session, and our main objective is to create interest in reading beyond boundaries and to expand your horizons of knowledge. So before starting now, we will be locking the game. Now, your Zoom screen would switch from displaying Kahoot to the slide displaying the name of the event. We will wait a while to see if the participants have any issue up to now. You can share it in the chat box. It seems that all is well. So participants, I hope you are ready. And now we shall commence Apprentice MINDSPARK. Moving on to the first question of the day. Papaver somniferum or opium poppy, as depicted in the picture, is the source of this well-known pharmaceutical drug used for pain relief. It is named after the god of dreams and sleep of Greek mythology. What is this drug derived from the poppy plant? A. Morphine, B. Digitalis, C. Cocaine, and D. Quinine. The time is up and the correct answer is morphine. Now let's move on to question number 2. The image on the left shows the December 1967 cover of the famous Life magazine. It is one of the most iconic photographs in the history of medicine and surgery, which portrays Louis Washkansky, the recipient of the first successful human-to-human heart transplant. Name the famous South African surgeon who led this operation. A. Christian Barnard, B. Donald Thomas, C. Denton Cooley, and D. Thomas Starr. Your time is up and the correct answer is Dr. Christian Barnard. Question number 3. There is a video clip incorporated to this content. So first, let's have a look.
It is clear that we are just an advanced breed of primates on a minor planet, orbiting around a very average star in the outer suburb of one among 100 billion galaxies. But ever since the dawn of civilization, people have craved for an understanding of the underlying order of the world. There ought to be something very special about the boundary conditions of the universe. And what can be more special than that there is no boundary? And there should be no boundary to human endeavor. We are all different. However bad life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. While there is life, there is hope.
Moving on to the question. This clip was from the famous movie A Theory of Everything, based on the life of Stephen Hawking, the renowned cosmologist and theoretical physicist. This movie depicts the story of Hawking, who was diagnosed with a neurological condition in 1963 when he was only aged 21. This condition, also known as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, is a motor neuron disease which is progressive and ultimately fatal. However, this condition was initially better known after a famous baseball player who played for the New York Yankees. He was diagnosed with ALS in 1939 and despite all efforts, he succumbed to his illness in 1941. The following is a picture of this baseball player at his farewell following the diagnosis of this terminal condition. Can you name this famous sports personality? A. Charlie Gehringer, B. Babe Ruth, C. Louis Gehrig, and D. Harland Clift. Your time is up, and the correct answer is Louis Gehrig, who played second base for the team of the decade of the 1930s. Let's move on to the fourth question. Hard work, sacrifice, and focus will never show up in tests, is a quote made by this famous cyclist who reached the pinnacle of his career after battling testicular cancer to become the most celebrated cyclist in history by winning 7 consecutive Tour de France titles. His inspirational autobiography, titled It's Not About the Bike, elaborates vividly on his efforts to be crowned as the greatest. However, following doping allegations in 2012, the United States Anti-Doping Agency concluded that Armstrong had used performance-enhancing drugs over the course of his career and named him as the ringleader of the most sophisticated and professionalized doping program that sport had ever seen. He was subsequently stripped of all his victories and banned from all sport, an ironical ending to his exemplary sporting career. What is the illegal substance which was used by Lance Armstrong as a performance enhancer? A. Testosterone, B. Human growth hormone, C. Creatine, and D. Erythropoietin. The time limit has exceeded, and the correct answer is D. Erythropoietin. Moving on to question number 5. These medical instruments were unearthed from an ancient Sri Lankan archaeological site in 1982. Some of these include a microbalance, fine forceps, and a scalpel. The experts who analyzed these believe that they could have been used for extreme surgeries such as brain surgery. The above instruments show us the advanced civilization we had when Western medicine was limited to barber surgeons and leeches. What is the historical site that these precious artifacts were discovered from? A. Lowa Mahapaya, B. Nalanda Gedigaya, C. Alahana Pirivena, and D. Abhayagiriya. Your time is up, and as you may have guessed, the correct answer is Alahana Pirivena. Moving on to question number 6. A small video on the Human Genome Project is incorporated to this content. You may find it interesting. Let's have a look.
An organism's genome is the entire genetic material of that organism, so the complete set of DNA. It provides all of the information required by the organism to function. DNA is a long chemical that contains bases represented by the letters A, T, G, and C. A gene is a section of DNA that codes for a particular protein. To learn more about DNA, watch this video. The human genome is 3 billion bases long, but only consists of about 20 to 25,000 genes. As an average sized gene is only about 3,000 bases long, this means that large parts of our DNA doesn't code for genes. The genome of every person on Earth is 99.9% the same. It's that tiny 0.1% that makes up genes that give us our unique differences. In fact, our genes are 98% similar to a chimpanzee's and 75% the same as a mouse. The Human Genome Project was an enormous project that saw scientists around the world collaborate to work out the sequences of bases in the human genome. The project started in 1990 and was completed by 2003, 2 years ahead of schedule.
Now let's move on to the content of the question. This question is on a pioneering personality in genomics. This leading geneticist and genomist from Sri Lanka, currently affiliated to the University of Houston, is one of the greatest experts in the field to have worked in the International Human Genome Project. This iconic figure served as the director of gene sequencing at Baylor Human Genome Sequencing Center in the year 2000 for the International Human Genome Project. She is known to have made the largest single contribution of 15,000 sequences to the mammalian gene collection. Can you identify this leading academic and scientist? A. Professor Preeti Gunaratne, B. Dr. Surangi Dharmawardena, C. Professor Vasanthi Arasaratnam, and D. Dr. Asha DeVos. The time limit has exceeded and the correct answer is indeed Professor Preeti Gunaratne. Moving on to question number 7. This is the large intestine. If you connect a gas pump and make the colon distend with air, the most likely site for perforation is the cecum. What is the law in physiology which states that the increase in diameter is inversely proportional to the maximum transmural pressure tolerated by long pliable tubes such as the large intestine? A. Frank-Starling's law, B. Dalton's law, C. Laplace's law, and D. Boyle's law. Your time is up and the correct answer is C. Laplace's law. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 8. The human body is composed of a variety of elements. These elements, which are integral for the composition of the human body, are termed essential elements. Of these, 99% of the mass is made out of 6 of them. As you may know, they are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and nitrogen and calcium. Human beings are intertwined with nature itself, and not so surprisingly, one of the above elements contributes to the most of the mass of the human body as well as the mass of the Earth's crust. Can you name this element? A. Carbon, B. Nitrogen, C. Hydrogen, and D. Oxygen. Your time is up and the correct answer is oxygen. Let's move on to question number 9. In the early 1700s, naval men suffered from a deadly disease which started with lethargy and behavioral changes leading to skin peeling and death. This was a main obstacle for long sea voyages and was more common among English sailors. In 1747, physician James Lind had made some interesting observations regarding these sailors' diet. He conducted the first recorded clinical trial in history with the use of a control group and published his observations. But this was not given much recognition. In 1768, Admiral James Cook followed Lind's recommendations on his 3-year voyage through the Pacific. This became a very successful voyage and led to the colonization of Australia and Tasmania. None of the sailors had died from the deadly disease, saved by the outcome of this scientific experiment. What was this deadly disease common among sailors? A. Beriberi, B. Scurvy, C. Pellagra, and D. Rickets. Your time is up. So you may have guessed from the picture where Admiral James Cook is feeding these patients with lime. So the correct answer is B, scurvy. So let's move on to the 10th question. In 1909, he became the first surgeon to receive the Nobel Prize. This renowned Swiss surgeon is highly acclaimed for his accomplishments related to the thyroid gland and modern thyroid surgery. His greatest feats included the significantly low mortality of 0.5% in the thyroid surgeries performed by him. Can you identify this iconic figure? A. Theodore Cocker, B. Theodore Billroth, C. Paul Randall, and D. Eric Muir. The correct answer is A. Theodore Cocker. So we have completed the 10th question, and I'm sure you all would like to have a break. So let's make a stop here and take a look at the leaderboard to identify our top scorers. So at the 2/3 mark, let's see who's in the lead. So in third place with 8,571 marks, we have Navodaya. And in second place with 8,946 marks, we have Dihan. And in the lead with 11,067 marks is PJ10. So now we will see if there's a twist in the tail, and moving on to question number 11. Death and disease caused by childbirth was a common complication in the past. Preeclampsia, antepartum and postpartum hemorrhage, and cephalopelvic disproportion were only a few of the complications which could affect females and children at this most vulnerable time period. Puerperal fever, also known as childbed fever, was a devastating disease. It affected women within the first few days after childbirth and progressed rapidly, causing acute symptoms of severe abdominal pain, fever, and debility. Although it had been recognized from the time of the Hippocratic corpus that women in childbed were prone to fevers, the distinct name puerperal fever appears in the historical record only in the early 18th century. In 1847, a Hungarian doctor called Ignaz Semmelweis, working in the Vienna General Hospital, was known to reduce mortality from puerperal fever by proposing and advocating for which of the following practices? A. Prophylactic antibiotics, B. Regional anesthesia, C. Use of aspirin, and D. Hand washing. The time is up, and the correct answer is hand washing. So let's move on to question number 12. The human circulatory system transports nutrients, respiratory gases, and metabolic products throughout the body, permitting integration of various tissues. William Harvey is known to have published the first accurate description of the human circulation. It is primarily made up of the heart, blood, and the vasculature. The blood vessels that perfuse organs make up about 100,000 kilometers if laid down end to end. This could wrap up around the Earth approximately 2.5 times. However, not all components of the human body with live cells are supplied by the circulation. From the following, which part of the human body does not receive oxygen through blood vessels? A. Anterior nares, B. cornea, C. dentine, and D. nail bed. Your time is up, and the correct answer is B. cornea. Let's move on to question number 13. This photograph on the left is of Louise Joy Brown, currently 42 years of age. Her birth was the result of yet another wondrous advancement of technology. In vitro fertilization was utilized to conceive her, and she was born on the 25th of July 1978 to Leslie Brown. Two individuals, namely gynecologist Patrick Steptoe and this famous scientist, portrayed on the right, played a pioneering role in the development of in vitro fertilization. This British physiologist was awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine and Physiology in 2010 for his contribution. Can you identify him? A. Robert Edwards, B. Sherwood Rowland, C. Michael Gottlieb, and D. Barry Marshall. The time for that question has exceeded, and the correct answer is A. Robert Edwards. Moving on to question number 14. The psychological condition where hostages develop a psychological alliance with their captors during captivity is called Stockholm Syndrome. The origin of this term was said to be based on the happenings related to a bank robbery which happened in Stockholm in 1973. Stockholm Syndrome, as mentioned above, is said to be a condition seen in the main character of which of the following movies? A. Shrek, B. A Beautiful Mind, C. Beauty and the Beast, and D. Tangled. Your time is up, and the correct answer, as you may have guessed, is Beauty and the Beast. Let's move on to the final question of today's session. In 2003, a mysterious disease emerged from China and Hong Kong. The symptoms were similar to the current coronavirus pandemic. Almost 800 deaths were reported in 29 countries. However, this epidemic did not turn out to be a pandemic. The virus was recognized and the disease was contained within a year. The main complication of the disease was recognized to be due to severe acute respiratory syndrome. A Sri Lankan virologist pioneered in the discovery of this virus. Can you identify him? A. Professor Malik Piris, B. Professor Mohan Munasinghe, C. Professor Chandima Gomez, and D. Professor Sarath Gunapala. And that marks the end of Apprentice MINDSPARK. Hope you all enjoyed taking part. And now let's take a look at the podium to who has come to the top of today's competition. In third place, with 14,463 marks, we have Osu. And in second place, with 14,653 marks, we have Bihan. And with a staggering 17,553 marks, we have PJ10. The winner of the inaugural edition of the Apprentice MINDSPARK is PJ10. And now, I would like to hand over the proceedings to Tavish Surya to deliver the vote of thanks. Thank you.
All right, the results are in, bringing us to the stunning conclusion of MINDSPARK 2021. The winner going by the nickname of PJ10, is GPJ Kumara of the Faculty of Medicine, Peradeniya. Congratulations on doing your faculty proud. You are the recipient of a valuable practice suture kit. Amazing job. Well, what a battle of wit and intelligence we just witnessed. I hope you all had as much fun watching and participating as we had organizing this. On behalf of the organizing team, I'd love to thank our Dean, Senior Professor Janaki Heva Visanti, for gracing us with her presence. We would also like to thank Professor Rohan Sirivardhana and every one of our wonderful mentors in the academic team of the University of California for their valuable guidance. The participants, your input was the most valuable of all. It is not easy putting yourself out there, and you have our utmost respect. Finally, everyone joining in to support your faculty, or just out of curiosity, you just made our day. A note of appreciation to Quizmaster and Head Organizer Kavindra Sudhu Patirage for his superhuman dedication and ability to bring us all together. As they say, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Here's to a kick-ass new year. Apprentice team out.